Hey, welcome back. We are in Chapter 7 of our textbook, Exploring Adobe Photoshop CS6 with CC Enhancements. And we will be working with the paintbrush and with painting and drawing in this particular chapter. So the first exercise that I'm going to start with you is to create a new file, and then we're going to work with some brushes. So we want to go to File and New, Command or Control N, and you can create a document of any size according to what the textbook indicates. Then we want to check the preferences to make sure that the normal brush tip painting cursor is selected. So if you're on a Mac, you would go to Photoshop CC. If you're on PC, you'll want to go to Edit, and we're going to look for Preferences. And we want to go to Cursors. And again, we want to make sure that the normal brush tip painting cursor is selected, which mine is. And then we're going to select OK. Now we're going to set a foreground color using the Tools panel or the Color panel. This is the color we're going to draw with. So we can set a foreground color by going here. If you just click once, amazing, isn't it? I tried so hard to get that done in another software and it would not happen for me. Alright, so color picker is up. We are going to select a new color. I don't know, maybe I'll make it a dark cranberry red. That's not really a very summery color, is it? Let's get something summery going on. Since this is an online or a web document, I'm going to make sure that I'm using web safe colors. We're going to click OK. And then we're going to select the pencil in the Tools panel. If you click and hold on the brush, we're hoping that the pencil will be here. Alright, here we go. There's the pencil tool. And then in the options bar, we're going to click on the second, I gotta go over here so I know, I'm going to click on the second inverted arrow to open the brush preset picker. This reflects the pencil options as well, and we are going to choose one of the styles in the top row and set a size between 10 and 20 pixels. My top row is probably just a little bit different than yours, maybe not. And we want it between 10 and 20 pixels, so I'll make it 20. For your future reference, you can also adjust the brush's blending modes and opacity. I'm going to move this over so we can read this a little bit better. In the options bar, we're going to hold off exploring on those options until we have more time to experiment. For right now, we're just going to place the cursor over the blank canvas and click and drag to start painting. Okay, so why am I not able to paint? There we go. Now if you want to create straight lines, we're going to hold down Shift and then we can click and another place on the canvas, and that will create straight lines. And we can change up the color if we choose to. Maybe we want to get a new, let's see, what's the opposite of blue on the color wheel? That's kind of a purplish color, so let's go up here. And draw again to your heart's content. Really just getting a sense of how the brushes work. You can go back up here and change up your brush panel if you want to, so you can see what the different strokes are going to give you in the pencil. Sorry, we're in the pencil, not in the... So again, we can draw to our heart's content, changing colors and pencil attributes. Now, once you've gotten tired of drawing, we're going to get the eraser tool, which is right here. And we're going to erase some of the brush strokes. Like the pencil tool's diameter, the eraser tool size can be set in the options bar. So I have an eraser that's at 220 right now. How easy does that work? If you work with the eraser in Illustrator, you know that you'll realize that the eraser tool in Photoshop works really much nicer. The color it reveals is determined by the background color. Let's see. Remember that the bracket keys will increase or decrease the diameter of the selected drawing tool on the fly. So if I'm erasing and I wanted to decrease, you can see that I can decrease it by just pressing the bracket keys on my keyboard. All right, the background color is in the tools panel is the color the eraser tool reveals. Make sure white is the background color swatch on the tools panel. Tap D on the keyboard to reset the foreground and background colors to their defaults. Now that wasn't necessarily the case with mine, and I think it's because I have a white or a transparent background rather than a color background. If you were to set the background color to green or blue, then erasing would reveal green or blue pixels rather than white. I'm going to set up a new document just to test my theory here. And rather than having background contents, I'm going to make them white contents. And again, I'm going to come back in and get the pencil, and I'm going to draw a little bit with the pencil. Then I'm going to get the eraser tool. And exactly as I thought, if you have color in your background, the eraser does erase to that particular color. Now if I wanted to change that up and make sure that it was white so that it would look the same as my artboard, I can definitely do that as well. Again, but personally I prefer to work with transparent pixels in the background. All right, now we're going to get the brush tool and click and hold on this. We're going to look for B, or the brush tool. And we're going to select a brush preset in the brush presets panel. Go to Window and bring up brush presets. And there's the panel. For more options, and actually you're not going to need them right now, but for another time, you can choose another brush library from the list at the bottom of the panel's options menu. So here are all kinds of, I'll try some of these faux finish because I've not worked with those before. And I'm going to append it, which means I'm going to add it to my current list. And I believe here are some of these that were added just now. We're going to select a new foreground color. And then we are going to change up, I'm going to change up the brush size. Well, actually, I'll try this one, which is already at 60 pixels. And let's see. Well, it's kind of hard to see the impact of that pattern with the transparent background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my layers panel, and I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to put it on the bottom or behind, and I just clicked and drug that to the bottom, and then I'm going to fill that with a color so I can see what these brush strokes look like a little bit better, and so can you. So we are going to go to Edit and Fill, and let's fill it with black, and then we're going to click OK. Then we're going to zoom in on this a little bit more so we can see what those brushes look like. And you'll see again at the top of the on the options bar, you can adjust the opacity, you can adjust the flow, you can do a number of different things in terms of the overall effect of even the brush strokes themselves. And now we're going to play with the adjustments in the brush panel. You want to try scattering, for example. So let's get this over here so we can bring these up so I can see them. Okay, there's the preset manager. All right, I'm back. Apologize for the interruption. I was looking for my brush so that I could get the same options here as well. And here's the scattering option. You can change that up by size, flip. You have to highlight it to get up the scattering options themselves. And you can see at the bottom the impact as you change those options. So for each one of these options, there are variations that will come up when you wet edges. For example, I can scale them. Why can I not get wet edges up here? Maybe because there. Now let's try wet edges. Noise. Must be that wet edges is not available with this particular brush, but again, you can see the amount of changes you can make and just the ability to create different kinds of brushes within Photoshop is almost just limitless. All right, so I'm going to come back here, see if there's anything else that we want to cover, and I will actually I'm going to close it out now, and I will be back in just a moment to work with you on making a custom brush.